Welcome back, everybody. So this next session is really focused on the retailing side of everything. So at the checkout, how retailers are delivering personalization at scale with AI. So please welcome to the stage James Manzo, who's the beauty market editor at WWD. Welcome, James. We have Carla Nadeski, director of merchandising at Starboard Group. We have Noah Rosenblatt, the president of the PCA company's newest acquisition, Beauty Space, which was formerly Space NK USA. Welcome, Noah. And Anna Mayo, who's the vice president of the beauty vertical at Nielsen IQ. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, James.
Hello, James.
It's good to see all of you in the flesh. Super excited to dive into all things the intersection between retail and AI with each of you. But I'd love to start, just so the audience gets a bit of for those of you who don't know either of you, let's talk a little bit about you and your background. So Carla, to kick us off, can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got involved with travel retail at Starboard?
Of course. Thank you so much for having me here today. I'm the director of merchandising for Starboard Cruise Services, and we retail. We have actually shops on board cruise retail. Hope you guys know the cruise industry, it's there, it's blooming. My journey actually started, 20 years ago, always in travel retail, working on board the ships. So fast forward 15 years now, I'm on the other side of the coin, curating the merchandising strategies for the cruise retail. So very happy to be here.
Wonderful. And Noah, you're planted firmly on continental soil.
That's correct. That's correct. And my team just reminded me that in 2 weeks, I will celebrate my 10-year anniversary with the organization, which is mind-blowing to think about.
So you started when you were 12?
Yes, exactly. Or just good skincare. I'll take good skincare. But my journey has been kind of all over the place with the organization. We started as a retailer when I joined the organization. And obviously, COVID forced us to change our model. And so we really focused on partnerships model, which we found to be very successful for us. And most recently, we sold our part of the US part of the business to a large distributor, the PCA companies, and they are truly helping us on the back of house operations and logistics component to it. So while we do similar things in curation of the best of best beauty products, we're now having this powerhouse of an operator behind us helping us do it at speed and at scale.
Amazing. And Anna, your history at NIQ, let's dive in.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. So I'm with Nielsen IQ. Hopefully, most of you have heard of us, but we essentially are measuring the sales of all products across all of CPG, including beauty, that are going through really any outlet. So think in-store, think mass, prestige, direct-to-consumer, online, offline. If something is selling, we're measuring it. And so, as you can imagine, we have tons and tons of data from different sources, and we're really able to answer lots of different questions, but I see my role as making sense of all of that information that's coming in and making it actionable for the industry and for our clients. So really spending time trying to think about what the trends are in beauty, what kind of information you need to know and what answers you need to know, and bringing that to all of you, because we all love data and it's a wonderful thing, but it can be really overwhelming if you don't know the right place to look and you don't know the right questions to ask with it.
Well, so before we even dive into the AI and the retail of it all, do you mind grounding us in some of the numbers? Like, what are you seeing?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we have one or two slides if they want to pull those up on the screen. So the big theme that I've been talking a lot about this year, and if any of you have been to other sessions, you might have heard me talk about this, is this rapid shift to online shopping. So this has been a trend that's been going on, since the COVID time, but it's really accelerating even faster in 2025. So most of the growth that we are seeing across beauty and personal care is happening online. Right? Consumers are getting a lot more comfortable shifting their purchases there. We're almost at a point where we're seeing 50% of all beauty and personal care purchases happening online. So a huge major shift for everyone to be aware of. And if you pop to the next slide, I think there's a little bit more detail. Yeah, perfect. This bubble chart, if you take a look at it, the way you read this is the size of the bubble is the sales in that retailer or channel, and then we have dollar sales on the x-axis and unit sales on the y-axis. So, I think it's pretty obvious to see the big driver of this online growth, right? It's Amazon. So Amazon is our #1 beauty retailer. They're also the fastest growing, and this is pretty rare that you're seeing, the #1 retailer or the #1 brand in the space also growing the fastest. But they have really entrenched themselves in how people are shopping. They've spent, years and years really kind of focusing on those boring basics, right? Getting shipping times fast, getting the right assortment, getting pricing down. And so it's become this kind of no-brainer channel for people when they need to replenish Dove body wash or CeraVe face moisturizer. It's just, I don't need to take a trip to the store. I can just open my app, order it on Amazon, it comes right to my house. So, they've done a really good job thinking about replenishment and those everyday purchase cycles. When we look across the rest of the retail landscape, mass and beauty specialty are our other two biggest channels, but their growth is a lot more muted. So again, they're being pulled by Amazon. It's less worth it for people to make those specific trips to the store. There's some other interesting things going on underneath the surface too. So there's new retailers coming into this space, right? Costco's been one that we're kind of keeping an eye on. They're surprising. They have this huge high-income customer base that they're tapping into. They're really dedicated to bringing K-beauty products to the US, and so they're seeing some interesting growth. With our beauty specialty retailers, Sephora and Ulta, they're doing a good job at expanding what beauty means and thinking about this broader kind of beauty and wellness space. So we're seeing growth in things like body care and sun care, deodorant, sexual wellness. And so that's amazing because it means more options for consumers and more potential ways that you can extend your brand. It also means a lot more competition, right? So they've already taken shelf space, again, away from historical beauty brands to make space for these new categories. And then what we haven't talked about is TikTok Shop. And I think if you go to the next one. Yeah, cool. Thank you. So TikTok Shop is, absolute phenomenal story. It is now the #6 e-commerce retailer in beauty and personal care, so it's right up there with all the rest of the big guys. And I talked about Amazon being this place for replenishment and kind of those tried and true purchases. TikTok Shop is total other end of the spectrum, and it's all about discovery, right? So they've cracked the code on how to introduce people to new products online and get them really excited to buy something in just a 30-second video. So we're seeing that people are spending more on TikTok Shop. They're taking more trips, 3.5 trips a year, which is pretty significant for a new retailer. And as the months go on, the average order size is going up, right? So when TikTok Shop launched, it was like, I'll try this out, I'll spend $20. Now we're seeing people spend $35, $40 on a single order as they get more comfortable with it. So, hope that covers it in kind of a nutshell, but again, this big shift online, and so I think there's still a lot of room for in-store experiences to kind of reinvent themselves. I think people are craving really experiences in real life and something special because we know we can get those basics online at an affordable price and they just show up to our house. So what makes it, what makes going out of the house special and important?
Actually, and before, I want to hear from Noah about this as well, but before we even dive into that, what are the commonalities between the different retailers that are doing a good job of driving foot traffic in store when we know that e-commerce is the big growth engine here?
Yeah, I think when I think about the retailers who are doing well in store, there's a lot of this kind of treasure hunt and experience. If you think about like a TJ Maxx or a Marshalls, those kind of come to mind for me. A Costco, even, you kind of never know what's gonna happen when you get there. There's always kind of something new to discover. You even see, Ulta and Sephora getting into this with having these special sections for, I saw this on TikTok Shop, or dedicated to bringing in indie brands. So you've got to surprise people, let them discover something, as well as, I think you guys can probably add in on this, having these, Instagrammable moments, right? Like a reason to show up, something you can also share in real life, but you can also share digitally, that kind of ties all those pieces together.
Totally. So Noah, tell me a little bit about how you're driving. I know you have the benefit of being like a shop in shop sort of situation, but tell us about what's driving people to beauty space.
Well, I would agree first with Anna that experiential at the more luxury level is really what's keeping consumers coming in. They always want some sort of activation and an engagement and an experience that they can learn something that is not necessarily learnable on their phone. So when you have that one-to-one experience with an advisor or in an environment that is an experience, they're learning something that is super unique to them. So that tends to be one of the major traffic drivers. But what we're finding also is that there's more brands than ever, so that's good news and bad news. The good news is that's driving tons of innovation in the beauty sector. And the bad news is that it's more costly to doing business, and it's a little bit more difficult to maintain shelf space for those brands. But if you look at the good news on that, what it's doing is helping not only drive the innovation, but we're seeing that driven in the innovation in new categories. So Anna mentioned wellness. Wellness is now defined as something completely new than what it was before. It used to be scent-based body washes, and no longer is that. Now they're performance-based body washes. And we're also seeing, and what we're starting to see, is the incorporation of toy into the beauty sector. And so you're seeing things that are really kind of popping up, which is unique, but I think a lot of that's just coming from the data that people are getting, or brands are getting, and really helping them drive to innovation.
What kind of toy do you mean?
Yeah,
I don't mean that, but just to clarify.
No, it's unique. I mean, I think there's some really like household names of brands that are out there. So a great one's Touchland. Yes. Everybody probably has one in their bag. Super unique product, super successful from a acquisition perspective for the companies that are working with them. But now they're incorporating like new ways of kind of delivering that. So we've all seen the Labubu craze. And Labubu's attached to bags. Well, they're coming up with their own ways of doing those kinds of things for hand sanitizer and body mists. And so that incorporation of the two kind of categories is really unique.
Amazing. And Carla, I think one of the things that is so interesting about Starbird is, speaking as a consumer, I always spend a disgusting amount of money when I'm on vacation. So am I the only one? Tell me about the behaviors you're seeing.
No, you nail it. Actually, people on vacation has a tendency, and it's factual, they spend 20% more than the average because we are on the vacation mode. It's about celebrating something. It's about the splurge. It's, I earned that moment. I'm on vacation, and why not? Let's do it, and let's do it now. So about the cruise retail, I could not agree more with Noah. It's people are craving for three things, which is the discovery. They have to trust, the process on what they are seeing after they discover, and personalization. I think that we heard today a lot about that hyper-personalization. It's everything. It is the future, and it's the future for beauty. It's the future for cruise retail as well. So for us, on board our cruise ships, AI also plays, a key role because we also leverage the perfect core technology because people want to discover something new. And it's not just about the experience, but it's also about the product. I think you share something that is super interesting. People want to feel that they are special in some way, somehow. It can be discovering a new brand. It can be discovering a new product, but at sea, retail as well. We do a lot with first at sea brands, so we like to call Starboard as an incubator in the beauty industry, so brands that you would never heard about it. So it's a delightful surprise when you go on board the ships and you get to see that. Also travel exclusive, something that you can only find while you're cruising. So all of those components really helps to bring that experience, but also to drive the basket size.
Well, tell me a little bit more. I mean, we're halfway through the AI at Retail panel and we haven't talked about AI yet. So tell us about the Perfect Core technology that you've implemented on board and how has that gone for you?
It has been absolutely a game changer for us. So on ships that we implemented this technology, actually we see a 20% increase in revenue. So in the end of the day, we are all here as retailers to drive more of that traffic fall, footfall to our shops, but drive also conversion. We also see a 50% conversion. So we like to say it for us that we drive the try that turns into the buy. It's very important that people there on a super easy and quick, simple way, skin analysis, it gives you a recommendation and the product is right there waiting for you. So it's very, very simple to convert into sales. So that is what consumers, when you're on vacation, the least that you want, it's something that is complicated. And of course, you want to celebrate something, so that is why we continue to add more into the technology to really drive, the conversion for us.
Certainly. I'd actually love to hear from both of you a little bit about this as well. I mean, Anna, you were talking about how with Amazon, for example, so much of the success comes from nailing the basics operationally, right? Like shipping times, assortment. What role do you think AI can play in that moving forward?
I imagine AI is going to have a huge role in just anticipating what we're purchasing. I mean, I'm a little rusty on this, but I remember hearing a lot about how Amazon was doing a lot to kind of know what you're going to purchase even before you purchased it, so making sure that warehouses in your area were stocked. Even things like when people are searching, if your local warehouse doesn't have that product in stock on Amazon, it actually won't show up in the search. So, all these pieces really inform. The other big shift that we're seeing is like how people are actually discovering products. So, I mean, we've all seen Google search numbers are really down because people are shifting those searches to things like ChatGPT, right? And so suddenly people are asking these AI models to give them a skincare routine. I need an affordable skincare routine under $50 that has a cleanser and a serum and a moisturizer that I can buy at CVS, right? And it kind of spits that out. So I'm sure everyone in this room is already thinking through that because we're very advanced at the AI forum. But it's something we keep raising to a lot of the brands that we're working with, that the way people are looking for things are changing. And I think layering onto that is we see a lot of the younger consumers shopping this way and Gen Z, but AI adoption really slows down the older that we get. So I could see a future where there's, you need to market to older people like the traditional way and to younger people kind of with this new AI way. So the specificity that companies are going to be able to use the technology to get will be really key in that.
Noah, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, sorry, my technology was working in my pocket while you were talking. Sorry. So we work with a multitude of retailers. So we work with Bloomingdale's, Nordstrom's, Dillard's, Walmart, and a few others. And so we're seeing all of our retailers adopt that. And I think what we've learned especially is some of the biggest are the best in the industry, really adopting and adapting to trends much faster. So I think, Walmart really, as seen on Anna's slides, are really kind of at the forefront of that. For me, I think there's something that I just think is important is that when brands are looking to incorporate AI into their experience, they have to be true to who they are as a brand. And so while these big five are really guiding everybody to do that, it may not always be the most appropriate time to adapt or adopt some of those technologies based on where the brand's life cycle is. And so those are some of the things that we give in guidance for brands when looking to incorporate some of the tech tools into their customer journey.
And to add, James, as well, AI really helps us to be very intentional, at least for the business model, for Starboard with this technology of Corp, we have ships that sail across the globe. So one consumer is completely different than another consumer depending on the region of the world. So being very intentional with the AI, understanding, from this technology, what are the products that people are most clicking, like in Australia versus here in the Caribbean. It really helps us to really curate the perfect assortment depending on the region, depending on the cruise line, depending where the guest is. The main goal for the AI is to really have the right product at the right ship at the right moment for that specific consumer. I think that is where we all, as retailers, and brands, we need to be very intentional. Is that the future it's all about simplicity. So let's keep it simple.
Well, I'd actually love to hear from you. So, like, if I'm on a cruise, I just had 2 margaritas in a deck chair, my face is dry, like, I need to go buy a moisturizer. If I were to walk into, like, a Starboard
shop.
Yeah, what would it look like from an
Absolutely.
AI perspective?
So we put the AI technology at front center of the shop. So it's not just something that it's there, it's the main driver of it. So what is good about a cruise and your 2 margaritas, and people don't realize on a vacation, on a cruise specifically, you have dwell time. Even though cruises can go from 3 to 7 days, people get bored. How many margaritas can you have it?
I mean, more than that.
More than
2,
that.
but
Totally. But it's the dwell time, right? So the technology is simple. It's there, quick scan on it.